These main banks have outlined a timeframe for dealing with the tracker mortgage scandal. Some borrowers denied or wrongly taken off attractive home loans will be refunded and compensated by Christmas. Customers of other banks will have to wait until next year. It comes after a flurry of activity in the past hour, during which the lenders, the central bank and the Minister for Finance all issued statements.
Can a leopard change its spots? That's the question posed by the tracker mortgage scandal. The government, the political parties and the central bank haven't been happy, and this evening the banks responded. The Minister for Finance had dragged the chief executives from the five main institutions into his office this week. Paschal Donoghue needed some kind of result.
All five banks have made statements unreservedly apologising to their customers who have been adversely and shamefully affected by the tracker rate scandal. The Irish people made extraordinary sacrifices to support the banks at the height of the financial crisis. Having done so, it is right that we demand, on behalf of the people, that the banking sector, now more than ever, operates in the best interests of its customers.
The statements from the banks are not the same. Permanent TSB says it will resolve refunds and compensation by the end of the year. Ulster Bank not until well into next year. AIB says it will complete the process by the end of March. KBC says it will have identified all affected customers by the end of 2017. Bank of Ireland says it will begin compensation payments next month. The central bank hasn't fared well over recent weeks, with claims that it has failed to protect consumers and that it wasn't aggressive enough with the bankers.
Well, what I have seen is a difference of behaviour with some banks and others in this. No doubt they cause the harm to their customers, but this is actually an opportunity for the lenders to show us that they are now different to the banks of the past. This is an opportunity for them to demonstrate to the Irish people, to their regulator, that their behaviour matches the rhetoric.
Those affected by this rip-off will certainly hope so.
Well, let's get more on this developing story this evening. Our political correspondent Gavin Riley is at the Department of Finance. But first, our economics correspondent Paul Coggan is here in studio. And Paul, a series of statements coming from the five banks in the last hour.
These statements potentially affect up to 30,000 people. Hundreds of millions of euro has been lost. But the banks are at different stages. We'll start with AIB, the biggest bank in the country. 2/3 of its customers will be paid back by the end of this year, they say. And the rest will be compensated by the end of the first quarter in 2018. That's the end of March. Then you have Bank of Ireland. They say they haven't paid back anyone to date. They will start doing that from November 10th, and they aim to compensate all of their customers affected so far by the end of the year. Then you have Ulster Bank, 1,000 customers compensated by the end of the year. The rest of them will be compensated by June next year. And they also say they'll be offering an initial upfront payment of €50,000 to anyone who lost their home as a result of this. Then you have Permanent TSB. They say over 1,900 of their customers were impacted. The deadline for issuing offers of redress and compensation by the end of the year. And then you have KBC. It says it has identified almost 500 of its customers as being impacted. It believes a further 600 may well have been affected, and it will start its compensation in November, and that will run into 2018. The other big question today was about banking culture. Had it changed? You saw the central bank there saying it's an opportunity now for the Irish banks to prove us wrong. We got apologies today from KBC and Bank of Ireland. We hadn't heard that before. The new chief executive of Bank of Ireland says he's personally committed to dealing with this. And just anecdotally, I got a tweet just as a statement came out from Bank of Ireland from a customer saying he just received a phone call from Bank of Ireland outlining the redress and compensation he was due to receive and apologising to him personally. So we'll have to see over the coming weeks how this plays out.